Hello everyone, my name is Lina Yusuf. I am 27 years old, born and raised in a traditional Muslim family in Dearborn, Michigan, a city with the largest Muslim community in the United States. From a young age, I was taught that faith was the compass for every decision in life. My family regarded Islam as the most important thing, the foundation of all relationships and values. Every morning, my father, Rashid, would wake us all up with the call to prayer and we would pray together. My family adhered to the practice of praying 5 times a day, and Friday prayers at the mosque were an indispensable ritual. My mother, Amina, often prepared special meals after every fast during Ramadan, making those moments unforgettable family memories. I remember my father always being strict about teaching us the sanctity of faith. "Doubt is the path to error," he often said. That teaching was deeply ingrained in my mind, making me strive to follow all the established rules. However, my soul occasionally raised questions that I dared not voice. Why must we follow all these rules? I often wondered in the darkness of the night, but those doubts were quickly suppressed by the fear of committing sin. It was in this context that going to college became a major turning point in my life, as the beliefs instilled in me for years began to be challenged. When I entered college, an entirely new world opened up before me. I met friends from various religious backgrounds: Christians, Jews, Buddhists, and even atheists. Among them, Emily, a Protestant friend, became very close to me. The way Emily spoke about faith made me start thinking seriously. One afternoon, as we sat in a cafe near campus, Emily shared a time when she felt lost in life after her mother fell seriously ill. She said it was her faith that helped her through those dark days. "Lina, sometimes the only thing that keeps you going is knowing there's a greater hand guiding you," she said with a comforting gaze. Her story made me wonder, could faith be more than rituals and rules, but also a true source of strength? Curiosity drove me to learn more. At first I read the Bible out of curiosity, but the more I read, the more I felt a strange connection in my soul. I began comparing passages in the Bible with verses from the Quran that I had memorized since childhood, and found that both conveyed messages of love and forgiveness. One day, Emily invited me to attend a church service. I felt both nervous and curious. The service was filled with music, light, and deeply emotional sharing. Unlike the solemn and somewhat rigid prayers I was accustomed to, this service brought a sense of closeness and hope. However, those feelings also caused inner conflict. My mind was filled with questions. Did I feel guilty for exploring another belief? What would happen if my family found out about these things? It wasn't just Emily. I also befriended Mia, an atheist in my philosophy class. Mia asked very profound questions that I couldn't ignore. Why must we cling to a single belief when the world is so vast? Mia's questions didn't make me abandon my faith, but led me to see that spirituality doesn't necessarily have to be confined within religious boundaries. Those days were a series of struggles and explorations. I realized that the world didn't have just one way of understanding spirituality, and this made me yearn to explore more, even though I knew it could push me into conflict with the traditional values I grew up with. One afternoon after class, as I was driving on a familiar road home, the sky was dimming and the last rays of sunlight were fading. The surroundings grew blurry in the faint light, and my mind was entirely absorbed in thoughts about faith. I wondered if the unending questions about God and the meaning of spirituality were testing my loyalty to the values I had been taught. I didn't realize I had drifted into a moment of distraction. While turning a corner, a large truck sped out from a side street. The truck was going too fast, and in a split second, I heard the blaring sound of its horn. I gripped the steering wheel instinctively, but couldn't react in time. A horrific sound echoed as my car collided with the truck. The impact threw me forward, with the seatbelt tightening around me in the chaos. My car spun multiple times before stopping by the roadside. The windshield shattered, shards flying like sharp blades. The front of the car was crushed, and smoke billowed thickly from the damaged engine. I lost all sensation of my body, unsure if I was still alive. The sounds of the outside world gradually faded, leaving an eerie silence. In that moment, everything went black. Suddenly, I realized I was no longer in my body. I saw myself, motionless amid the wreckage of metal and glass. I was floating above the accident scene, like an unwilling spectator witnessing my own tragedy. A strange feeling arose, a mix of confusion and fear. What is happening to me? Is this a test from Allah as mentioned in the Quran? Or is it something greater that I've never been taught? The questions kept repeating in my mind. Then I began to notice a radiant light that wasn't blinding, like a sunrise breaking through mist. The light was full of warmth, soothing all my worries. Within that light, a figure gradually appeared, majestic, gentle, and full of love. I knew it was Jesus. He said nothing, but his presence conveyed a profound message, without needing words. I felt unconditional love, a sense of peace and tranquility enveloping me. I struggled to rationalize, how could I, a Muslim, see Jesus? This is forbidden according to my beliefs, but why does this feel so real? Jesus reassured me not with words, but with a feeling. A gentle message filled my mind. Your time on earth is not yet over. This message didn't come as a sound, but as a refreshing breeze blowing through my heart. A light nudge pulled me back. I felt conflicted in every moment. Is this a test of my faith? Or is it a message I need to understand? When I woke up in the hospital, the harsh white light of the ceiling lamps made me blink repeatedly. I felt the pain from my injuries and the heaviness of my body, but deep in my soul, I knew I had changed. What I had just experienced couldn't simply be a dream or hallucination. It was more real than anything I had ever known, an experience beyond all the limits of understanding I had before. Returning to life, my family initially doubted and dismissed it as a dream. My father insisted it was a test from Shaitan, the devil, and I needed to pray more to regain purity. But I couldn't forget what I had experienced. That light, that presence, it was more real than anything I'd ever known. I began researching near-death experiences and found that many others had similar stories, regardless of religion. However, the conflict with my family intensified. My father became distant, often reminding me, "Lina, you're going down the wrong path. Don't let strange things cloud your vision." My mother would cry incessantly out of worry. "Lina, trust in the family and what we've taught you," she said, her voice trembling. I understood that if I didn't share, this tension would never be resolved. One day, I decided to sit down with my parents and recount my entire experience. At first, my father reacted angrily, but I patiently explained that it wasn't the effect of a dream, but a profound spiritual experience. I described the unconditional love I felt and how it made me question the true meaning of faith. "Lina, this is not our way," my father said, his voice filled with disappointment. But I replied, "Father, I'm not abandoning our faith. I'm just trying to understand better the God I encountered." Gradually, his anger subsided, replaced by a contemplative silence. In the days that followed, my family entered a state of tension. My mother tried to reconcile by sharing stories of tolerance, but my father remained distant. However, I decided not to give up, continuing to show love and respect for my parents while staying true to my experience. Over time, my father began to open up. One evening, he said, "Lina, I still don't fully understand what you've been through, but I see that you've become more patient and loving. Perhaps God is guiding us in ways we don't yet comprehend." Those words felt like the first light after a long period of darkness. I realized that reconciliation was not just a destination, but a journey. I was content to be on the right path, even though the road ahead still held many challenges. Eventually, I found a balance between old and new faith. I didn't completely abandon Islam, but accepted that my faith had evolved in a direction that embraced a broader understanding of spirituality. I became a bridge between people of different faiths, sharing my story to inspire and promote understanding. I concluded, that experience didn't just change how I see God, but also how I see people. Love and understanding are the common languages that transcend all religious boundaries.